Hi guys, TotallyDubbed here, and today I'm doing a video review on the Philips PH805. Now these are active noise cancellation headphones and also Bluetooth, so you've got pretty much best of all worlds. Now in terms of pricing, it can be found for around £160 in the UK. If you live elsewhere, there'll be a locally link in the description below. It'll take you to your localized Amazon store. So without further ado, let's get into this review. So first off, what you get in the box is the headphones themselves, a nice little hard shell carrying case as you can see over here, and within the case what you'll also find is a micro USB to USB cable for charging, a 3.5mm jack interconnect, and also an airline adapter which is included. It's great to see all of those included inside the box. Now for the headphones themselves, they're available in black only as far as I could tell. In terms of the build quality of the headphones, you can hear they're little plasticky, so they don't sound like the best built headphones, but that said, neither do, like, say, the Sony WH1000XM3s. They have that sort of plasticky feel. On the plus side, they're pretty lightweight, and therefore they don't sort of dig into the top of your head, specifically because they've got a nice little soft headband at the top as well. The good thing about them is that they can fold inwards and also folds inside as well, like so. So therefore it's quite portable. You can hear the mechanism is quite clicky, so worth bearing that in mind. Again, doesn't induce the best sort of build quality, but again, that is very much the same case with headphones that pretty much cost double its price. Now, going on from that, you've got the design of the headphones. Now, they're all black, as I mentioned before. They've got a nice sort of hinge design. It makes it a little bit more sleeker, and they've got sort of like a slight, a different glossy type of look on the actual headband themselves, as you can see over here. Now, in terms of what you can do with the headphones, other than folding them, they've got a clicky headband, which is great to see, and also that sort of movement over here means that no matter your head shape or even size, you're going to get a good fit. Speaking about fit, the cups themselves, they're oval shaped as you might expect. They've got nice soft pads which sit around your ears. I had no issues wearing them for quite a substantial amount of times. Unlike other headphones out there, it's great to see these are actually comfortable. The clamp force isn't too hard either, so therefore you can wear them while sitting at your desk, or you can go around on a run without having to worry about falling off. Of course, your mileage may vary depending on the size of your head, but for me, in my case, I found them to be perfectly acceptable for those two sorts of applications. And also in terms of sweat as well, they don't attract too much sweat. In other words, they've got good pads that deal with sweat. So anyway, in terms of the diameter, it's also a pretty good size as well, so I had no issues fitting my ears, which are rather large inside here. What I don't like is the right and left indicator is somewhat hard to see. It's within the headband. I would have liked a right and left indicator within the pads over here. However, it will be somewhat obvious after a while, because you can see on the right hand side over here you've got the controls, so when you pick them up you'll be able to see the controls and you'll kind of know what which side is which. Now on the left side, all you've got is a micro USB port to charge. I would have really liked to see USB-C, specifically because you've got more fast charging capabilities. Now in terms of battery life, these do hold around 25 hours to 30 hours of battery, which is actually pretty impressive given their price and given their competitors. However, I still would have liked USB Type-C just because it's a more modern day connection, and for £160 I'd expect headphones like this to actually support that newer form of connector. Now in terms of the right hand side, you've got a few controls. You've got the input. Now the input is somewhat awkward because it's a 2.5mm jack input. It's not a 3.5mm jack input. So when I was saying about the interconnect, it's 3.5 on one end and 2.5 on the other. I would have preferred that again to be 3.5 because it's just a lot more universal. Nevertheless, that's not so much of an issue if you have the cable that comes included. Moving on from that, you've actually got the controls over here. Now I read some reviews where some people just really didn't like the controls. I don't know what they were complaining about, to be quite honest with you, because play pause is pretty obvious. You just press it over here, and then if flick up and flick down goes previous and next. It's really simple and pretty comprehensive, in my opinion. It means it's quite easy to actually use and control your media. One thing I don't like, however, is the ANC ANC controls. And the ANC controls are touch-based. And touch-based is on the right-hand side cup. If you touch this outer pad, it will enable, disable, or enable ambient sound. So yes, it does have ambient sound, but the issue I have with them is when you tap them, it takes a while before it goes to the next mode. So you've got ANC on, ANC off, and ambient sound. It takes around, I don't know, 7 to 10 seconds to go from one setting all the way back around. So if you were to accidentally press it, you have to press it again. The reason why is because of the voice commands that come through, and they can't be disabled. So if I just go quiet, hopefully you'll be able to hear this.
Ambient sound. ANC on. ANC off.
So hopefully the camera was able to pick up that that little voice command. Again, I like the fact that it gives you that, but I would just like it going on, off, ambient sound, and pretty quickly, whereas it just takes a little bit of time to do it. Now, that is a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things, but it's just worth bearing in mind it's something that I did notice. Now, before proceeding with the recording and sound quality, I just want to show you how they look like on the head. So you guys can see over here. You can see that they don't overly stick out, they're not overly bulky, and in my case they fit pretty well, and you can see they don't fall off your head when you shake them pretty vigorously. So in terms of looks and design, no complaints, and as build quality, as I mentioned, other than a little bit of creaking because of the plastic design, there's no issues. Now, I want to talk about Bluetooth codec, because it's something I didn't not say quite understand, but on the box it says it's got high-res audio, and high-res audio has got certain criteria, but when it comes to codec, it only supports the SBC codec. The Bluetooth SBC codec is the lowest quality codec you can get, and therefore you don't get the best quality sound over Bluetooth. And I just would have liked to see either AAC or aptX or even any codecs included, specifically because it's 160, 170 odd pounds. If this was about £100, I'd totally understand, but even then, headphones that cost a lot less support the aptX and AAC standards. So I think it's a little bit lazy that Philips haven't included higher quality codecs, and even though they boast about Bluetooth 5.0, which has got a good range and stuff, I just would have liked to see that same sort of quality reflected in the codecs. So anyway, with that in mind, connectivity and latency issues, I had no issues whatsoever using an Android phone. I had no video lag delay or lip sync issues, and furthermore, in terms of distance, 10 to 15 meters through walls, I had no issues again also using the command, so that was great to see. Now, it's not something I normally use as well, but it's also worth bearing in mind this has a voice assistant functionality built in, basically accesses your smartphone voice assistant, and that can be accessed pretty quickly. It's also another thing I forgot to mention in terms of the tap controls. If you were to swipe up, swipe down, it adjusts the volume as well, and it works flawlessly, and I had no issues with that in terms of touch sensitivity and in terms of how it responds. So no issues there. So now moving on from that, let's talk about the recording quality. By that I mean, if you're going to be with these headphones taking a call, how does it sound? Well, quite frankly, in comparison to its competitors at its price, it's bang on average. It's nothing amazing, and neither is it terrible. It picks up quite a lot of environment sound when you're on a call. It doesn't quite block out external noise and doesn't cancel out or doesn't actively basically improve the sound quality of your call, and furthermore, on top of that, the actual sound quality itself, the recording quality should I say, isn't phenomenal. In other words, you do sound a little bit muffled in comparison to, let's say, using a smartphone, or if I was comparing to like the Bose 700 headphones, which have phenomenal mics, then you can tell it's kind of a night and day difference between the two. And now we move on to the sound quality. Now, the sound quality of these headphones is pretty good, I must say. In terms of the overall sound, for what you're getting under £200, I think they produce a pretty decent sound. Let's go through the sound frequencies. So first of all, the sub bass. It's present, a little bit cut off on the low end, but it has got that sort of rumble, that meatiness to it. The mid bass is a little bit uncontrolled, but on the whole it is present and it's not too overpowering. It is worth bearing in mind that the mid bass is affected when you do enable active noise cancellation. By that I mean it does get over bloated a little bit, so I actually prefer listening to music without noise cancellation enabled where possible. Obviously these are noise cancelling headphones, so you've got to use them for that function, so it is worth bearing in mind that does cause somewhat a different sound signature when you're using with ANC on or versus ANC off. Moving on to the mid-range is a little bit pushed back, it's a little bit recessed. Therefore, it does create a somewhat warm sound signature, which isn't necessarily a bad thing because some people will actually prefer that, like myself. However, it's worth bearing in mind that in comparison to other headphones which are more expensive, these will sound a little bit more recessed and dipped. But in its price range, or under £200, I would say it's up there with the best headphones, be it with ANC or not. I think they do a fantastic job in the mid-range, specifically because they sound accurate and not overly boosted or veiled or something like that. It just sounds natural. Next up is the highs. Now the highs do extend pretty well. There's a little bit of roll off at the top end, but they're not sibilant, which means that you can listen to these for hours on end without any sort of ear fatigue. So that's great to actually experience, and it's great to see that Philips haven't tried to overly accentuate the highs. As for the soundstage, here is where the headphones, I think, really do well versus some of its competitors. Instead of sounding closed and somewhat claustrophobic, these headphones sound pretty open. Now, don't get me wrong, these are closed-back headphones and they're never going to replicate open-back headphones, but still, in terms of the overall soundstage reproduction, I think you're going to be pretty pleasantly surprised. There's good instrument separation, a decent width and height to it, so you're not going to feel, again, too closed in and listening to closed-back headphones. And just overall the tonality imaging that Philips have been able to get out of these headphones is pretty impressive. So no complaints there for under £200. And finally, of course, it's worth talking about the noise cancellation. Now for under £200, I think you have to somewhat set your expectations. And then these headphones are pretty mid-range in terms of their ANC capabilities. They're better than £100 sets, but they're they're nowhere near as good as £250 plus sets. So for its price, it does a decent job. It cancels out airplane noise pretty well. When it comes to like the mid-range and highs, it struggles purely because of noise cancellation technology, and it just doesn't compete with the flagship headphones, let's say the 1000 XM3s or the Bose or even the Plantronics Blackbeat Pro 2s. So those headphones just do a better job at cancelling out environmental sound versus these headphones. But again, it's all put into perspective because the price does reflect in terms of its performance, from sound quality to noise cancellation to recording quality, and as such you can't expect incredible noise cancellation from these headphones because, well, quite simply, their price kind of reflects where they should be sitting at. So overall, what do I make of these headphones? Well, quite frankly, for their price, they are exactly what I would expect. They don't sound phenomenal, they don't have all the Bluetooth codecs, although that's somewhat disappointing at its price. And in terms of noise cancellation technology and even recording quality, it's exactly what I would expect from a set of headphones which cost around £160 odd. So it's safe to say these are the best noise cancellation headphones under £200. If you've got a bit more of a budget, you might want to look at the Plantronics Blackbeat Pro 2. If you've got a little bit more than that, then definitely look at the Sony 1000 XM3s, by far the best noise cancellation headphones on the market, period. And obviously if you want a more stylish headphone, more audiophile grade headphone, then there's far more expensive headphones out there that you might want to consider. But given the price of these things, I think I'll definitely see myself recommending them for anyone that's in that sort of price bracket. So good job, Philips, for producing a good mid-range ANC headphone. Alright guys, I've been Totally Dubbed. Take care and bye-bye.